I'm gonna start with Hollywood pedophilia, transition into election theft. Then we're going to transition into the Great Awakening. I just want to reconfirm because I know everybody heard me saying Hollywood director, and I'm glad that I've just been corrected. It's Hollywood film producer, not film director. So I just want to confirm you are and have 20 years plus experience in this arena that we call Hollywood as a film producer.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
So I want to get it right for me and then get it on a record. So now that we got that confirmed, I won't ask anything too crazy because I keep it on level 10 when I'm by myself, but I know that everybody, you're not me. So I'll try to be 9.5 when I have guests. And I just want to ask, in the video, I have to ask this question. In the video, there was a part where you say, I've seen things and I wasn't a part of them. Now, I don't want to know if it's crazy in detail too much what you've seen, but can we get some name bombs here of people who, if are not already under investigation, you in your personal opinion believe law enforcement should be looking at these people?
No, I couldn't say like at a level that would have a story. There are plenty of people that do have stories and they are ready to tell them, but I will tell you that so let me be very clear. The stuff that I've seen is the prostitution, but not realizing it was child sex trafficking at the time. With 50-year-old men with underage women at parties. I just thought they were young girls, but I was a young man at that time, so you don't think in those ways.
Right.
Satanic stuff, though, that I didn't realize was all part of the underground scene there. And one of the clubs that I didn't go to, but I was invited to go to one time from a group of people that I hadn't been hanging around them for that reason, but I had just found let me kind of back up a little bit.
All right.
When I was a young man, I went out to LA like many people do, an artist who was damaged from their childhood. I'm not condemning artists, but we're a sensitive group of people who we're feeling something. Some of us have been really traumatized, others have not. But we all have a disturbance, a sense that itches us in this direction to create, to perform, to express ourselves in a deeper way that goes outside of the traditional lawyer, doctor, accountant, right? And so we're kind of crazy, and we don't realize our awareness is very low sometimes. So we just kind of see the world through our own perspective, through our own lens, like everybody does, but it's kind of skewed a little bit. And I found myself around people that I didn't realize how dangerous they were.
Right. I understand exactly.
Right. So we're talking about people who did porn, the porn industry, which is not about the sexy kind of porn, but if you want to know the kind of porn we're talking about, go on Jenna Jameson's Twitter, because she's dropping truth bombs left and right these days about Pornhub, raping girls. This kind of gonzo porn, I mean, that's an older term, but the kind of stuff that I used to go to were like parties where they do porn DVD release parties, right? I'd go to strip clubs. I dated a stripper, tried to date other strippers. And I was brought into, a couple of parties where there was the BDSM type, theme stuff. The room, they have the different rooms. This all looks fun and sexy, but how it actually plays out in real life is human carnage. Now, on the flip side of that, the people that I could name names about, they got bigger problems than anything they ever did to me. I mean, it was a standard thing. Okay, when I was a young man and I'd go to a meeting as a producer, trying to be a legitimate producer on a studio lot for a major studio, and I meet with a producer of an Academy Award-winning film. So I'm like honored to be there at 25, having a meeting about my projects, and it had nothing to do with my projects. It had to do with that gentleman wanting me to take my coat off so he could see my slender body. And, you know, and then when I didn't play along, he got pissed. And, you know, the meeting, it was like kind of like grinding to a halt, and he was getting angry and angry. And I just, you know, I was just professional through the whole way. I said, thank you very much for making the time, you know, that kind of stuff. But what I saw deeper was this satanic element in people who I didn't know were satanic at the time.
Right.
Because they don't ever tell you that. They have to, their whole thing about what they do is to trick you away from yourself. And there's sociopaths in that. So they take fun at hurting you. They take fun at manipulating you. They take fun at dominating over you, and it turns them on to do that. They go after relatively decent, innocent people, and they, what you would consider, mind fuck them, right? Yeah. And that's how they get their rocks off. So what I saw along the way in all the places that I went was just a dark group of people that I didn't understand was satanic. But then in this last year, when I began to awaken fully, I encountered those same people, and I saw what they wanted to do was to reach inside of you, take that light and crush it. They didn't need you to worship the devil. They didn't need you to follow Lucifer. What they do, kind of like if you take it on the end of Christianity, is the goal is to save a soul, right? To become born again. Well, their whole thing on their born again side is to free you. So you become free to indulge in the pleasures and all of the Luciferian type, trick you away from yourself, what you really are, essentially, to get you lost in the world, to get you lost in the material world, to get you lost in the monetary world, the fame, all the labels, all the externalities of this material culture, this celebrity culture. So, in short, I just saw disgusting people doing horrific things, not knowing I was seeing what I was seeing at the time. It was like I had to see it with new eyes. And then going back and reflecting over 19 years, it just all started adding up, like how just morally bankrupt the majority of the most powerful people in Hollywood are. And I'm not talking that there aren't people in there that have goodness in them. In fact, there is something we want to talk about later tonight, a quote that came out of a book about looking for a Hitler, looking for a devil. And all of these people are still human beings. They are still human beings, even though they do horrific things. It's not that we agree with them, but there's still some kind of light or life in them if they're human. And that's why they can do what they do to deceive you, because they can imitate empathy. They can believe from their own lived experience and their reality that they are actually what they think they are. That's actually how Satan works. It's all about the mind and how it's your personality and all that. That you are the God, essentially. You are the God, but all that you think you are, and more.
And I've been doing presentations for 5 years, literally, exposing Luciferianism and Satanism, the differences between it, and why it is the belief system of the elites. And I'm not going to do that now because that would be a totally different lane. But for anybody who's interested in that, I have an entire lecture on my website titled "Wiccan, Satanism, and Luciferian Religion Exposed." And I have another lecture titled "Freemasonry Exposed." And I break down, the interconnection between all of these belief systems, how they're filtered out through the military industrial complex, politics, food, everything, and how it affects you today, how you're affected today based upon the policies that are set in place by people who believe in Lucifer, period. And with that being said, pushing forward, what I want to ask, I did a video recently, and this video was titled The Science of Symbolism. And in this video, I basically broke down how symbolism, to keep it, you know, simple and give people a metaphor once again, symbolism is like the art form of sign language. And so it's basically speaking or communicating to somebody or transferring frequency in a non-verbal manner. And so I want to ask you now, with your eyes super wide open and someone coming down this path of film production for 20 plus years, what is the level of satanic or occultic symbolism placed in these movies? And what would you say the effect has been from your perspective, just on the general public, by us constantly refreshing our minds with film content being made by these type of people?
It is in everything that you view, one form or another. It's different expressions. It could be symbolism. It could be concepts. It takes, let me say what they do. They basically invert the truth.
Yes, sir.
And then they flip apart, which is the face of it, which is, so there's a half truth and a lie covering it in every form of it. Now that's at least the way I see it, but the energy that's in there. So the concept is this: Nikola Tesla said, if you wish to understand the universe or the secret to the universe, it's energy, frequency, and vibration.
That's right.
So what does that mean? Well, on a practical level, okay, this is stuff you can look up. If you were to take all of your matter in your body and my matter in my body, and we were to compress all of it down at a solid state level where there was no space, all of the matter in your human body and my human body individually, it would be no bigger than the thinnest human hair, no thicker than the thinnest human hair. It would fit on the top of a pin. So what does that mean? That means that from a scientific level, you have 50 trillion cells in your body. Every human being has 50 trillion cells. There are 100 trillion atoms in each and every one of your cells.
That's right.
Those atoms have a nucleus and they have electrons. And if you scale down to that microscopic size particle, you'll see that there's space between the nucleus and the electrons, and there's a magnetic field. There's energy in that, inside the center of that, and it's vibrating.
That's right.
All right. So all that space taken out, compressed matter, all that you're seeing here, fitting no thicker than the thinnest human hair.
Right.
And what these people do is they know what we are and they know where we are, and they have to trick you away from that through letters, numbers, symbols that resonate frequencies and colors in the symbols.
Yes, sir.
That resonate frequencies to us that change our brains. They literally change our brains. They program it, and they use entertainment. Entertainment imprints through emotion.
Yes.
These subconscious programs that go off in your brain and you sleep with at night, and then you wake up the next day as though your reality is projecting the Luciferian agenda and you don't even know it.
Boom. And that's, you know what, you just came on here and dropped a nuke. And I'm glad you did that, because I tell people all the time, the truth is universal. And one thing that I feel is used against us is our cultural differences.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize that we have extreme cultural differences, which is a good thing, but we still share a common truth. And what you just said, I promise you, I did a presentation, I think last year in Chicago, and it was called Occultic Vernacular Expression Enchantment. And I broke down letters, grammar, how grammar comes from the French word grimoire, which is a book to summon demons. How, you know, we
spells.
Yes, spelling, spells, cursive. And it's like, I've never had this conversation with you about that till now. And we meet here. And so before I continue, I want to tell people this is why I took a shot. And I said, you know what? Let me I'm not gonna say I took a shot. I'm gonna say I followed my spirit, and I said, let me venture psychologically outside my community to see if what they telling me to expect about the world is really real.
Yeah,
and I've come to the conclusion that if everybody could just respect cultural differences, we could have a pretty great planet because we all actually understand the same thing. It's just historically we have to preserve ourselves, but presently we have to exchange information to build the world. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because this interview for me is powerful, and I'm gonna save more of this build till we get to the Great Awakening section. But this interview is powerful because realistic or stereotypically, me and you should not be having a conversation, right? And I've said it to you when I talked to you on the phone. Yeah. You, in the eyes of the world, you're a successful, I'm gonna just say white guy.
Go for it. No, use all the labels you want. Let's go identity politics 100%.
You're a successful white guy. You've produced movies that I can only dream of watching. I just got off parole last week. I'm self-educated. The world wouldn't want us having this conversation, but it's like you wouldn't even think that we could have it, but we can have it. And not only do we have it, I'm not gonna say we dumbing it down. I don't want to disrespect nobody at home, but we're toning this down a lot. Actually go all the way up there on y'all. And so this is where we're supposed to be. We're not on here fighting and arguing about no bullshit. We on here having an intellectual conversation that can actually save your life. Because
yes, it can.
Yeah, that's the truth. Because just like we have physical detoxing or dietary detoxing, what he just said, if you pay attention, is an opportunity to what I call neurologically detox yourself. Now that you know your brain has been literally programmed, and y'all hear me say this all the time when we say program, the neurons in your brain literally reconstruct themselves to release dopamine based upon the imagery and sound you approve of. So if you don't even listen to me, if this is your first time hearing what he just said, you don't even know. He just gave you something that you can literally defend your own consciousness with till the day you die, because you're aware of it now. Yes. So the whole point of being under attack in the manner we are, and the reason that we're losing, where we were losing at the level we was losing, because we wasn't aware. So that little 2-minute, session of information he gave you can literally save you for generations to come, because you're aware of it. Now, when you watch TV, you can say, what is this? What am I really watching? And what is it? What are the long-term effects? When you play that video game
I don't know how many people hated Kennedy, but I know that the Bay of Pigs was a huge disaster. A lot of military people hated him for that. Supposedly he wanted to get rid of the NSA. Supposedly he wanted to get rid of he wanted to do something about the Federal Reserve. There was a lot of things that he wanted to do, apparently. Maybe it was the CIA. I think it was the CIA. He was trying to disband one of those. But he had a disdain for secrecy and secret societies. There was a lot of these like Skull and Bones type things that like George W. Bush was in, or Herbert Walker Bush, rather, his dad. Mm-hmm. Was George G.W. in Skull and Bones too?
They both were, yeah.
Yeah, all that wacky shit. Like, what are you doing? You dressing up like a druid? What are you doing? Are you burning an effigy? A lot of people thought that was all fake until Alex Jones and John Ronson was with him, right? Yes.
I don't know who was with him, actually.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Google that. Make sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure it was Ronson. I'm pretty sure Ronson was. I know it was. He was talking about it. He was talking about it on the podcast about, that they couldn't believe what they found. So this is this place, Bohemian Grove, and the idea was that all the elites would go there and they would engage in these occult rituals.
This is in America?
Yeah, it's in California.
Oh.
It's like Northern California. And so you hear about this and you're like, what? Like, if you heard about that, like, hey, there's a place. Former presidents go, top-ranking generals and heads of state and bankers and famous artists. They go to this place and they do occult rituals. Yeah. They perform occult rituals.
Part 4 of The Secret Rulers of the World, directed by John Ronson. He travels with Alex Jones too.
There you go.
What's that? Netflix?
I don't know where you could find it at the moment. It was on.
You can definitely see it on YouTube.
Right.
You can definitely see the interaction on YouTube. So Alex films these people worshiping Moloch, the owl god, and doing this thing. He completely sneaks in, just acts like he belongs there. Just let him in. They have a gate, guarded gate. Just fucking, hey, how you doing? He looks like a Republican. They let him through. He is there filming them. They have an effigy, like a bunch of straw and shit that's supposed to represent a person that you're sacrificing to Moloch, the owl god. They're dressed in these crazy hoods. They put the effigy down. They say they have those loudspeakers. They have this crazy speech they give. It's so weird. But these are like legitimate, wealthy, famous people, politicians. These people are heads of banks and shit. And they're going there and they're dressing up. This is real.
Right.
Like, this isn't like you hear things like that. You're like, well, that's nonsense, right? That's nonsense. That doesn't really happen. There's not a real like Bilderberg meeting. They don't really get together and fucking pretend they're burning hookers.
They really do.
They really do. Yeah. And so he films this. And like, it's one of the first things that got me thinking about conspiracies. As much as you can think that Alex is a wacky guy, he's certainly eccentric. And he's not always right, you know, and that's part of the problem when you're being lied to left and right by so many different things. You can get real off on things, and he did.
Right.
He's gotten, it's been beaten into the ground. But the fact is that there are a certain amount of these things out there like that. And if it wasn't for Alex releasing that video, I think most people would think that's nonsense. But when you see that video, you have to go, okay, what is this? What is going on? Are they really dressing up? Is this really an occult ritual? What is this? Have you ever seen it?
No.
Pull up a video, Bohemian Grove, just so we can watch the video.
The pictures and stuff, because the video that he has is really blurry and.
Yeah, but well, you'd have to hear it too, because there's like a booming loudspeaker. Yeah. But see what you can see. It's kind of blurry, but. These guys, I mean, there's like, it's famous, this place.
So do you think these people all work with each other?
So he's got this hidden camera footage of these people with torches dressed up like druids going over, and they're carrying the effigy, and then they're going to sacrifice it and light it on fire. Like, dude, this is like really rich, famous, powerful people are all here watching this. Like, look at that. Back that up so we can hear what it's, or we can read what it says. Back it up a little bit.
I just got someone's talking over it too.
Yeah, but I don't want to hear it, Jamie. I just want to see the writing.
Yeah, well, it keeps going.
Yeah, but can't you? No, what I'm saying is, make it so I can't hear it. En masse rends the stones of Babylon. Like, so they're like. What do they even say? Play it out a little bit. Like, look at this. For beauty is eternal. So they have this, and we bow to beauty everlasting. It's a very strange shit. So they're yelling this out. This guy's got this on a loudspeaker, and they're engaging in this ritual. And then they bring over this effigy and they light it on fire. They have a boat in the water. Like, it's weird, dude. Just imagine being a guy who's worth $1 billion, and this is what you do for fun. You're going to get together with Mike and Harry, who runs Microsoft, and you're all going to go and pretend you're burning something. Like, look at this.
But did they become billionaires and then do this, or is it a chicken and the egg?
That's the question. That's what people think, like, about the elites, right? People think they're, well, and in some families, it is true.
I mean, if these people are all meeting up once a year to burn a stack of hay shaped like a lady, why wouldn't they invest in each other and,
Of course.
They're all bankers and successful.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing about Skull and Bones, is that they all had something on you. Everyone knew something.